Today's song is Lift Your Heart in Strength. It's one of those songs that is deceptively simple and easy to dismiss, especially as it's often categorized as merely a children's song, you might say. But again, we are all children of the Divine Mother and the Heavenly Father, so we can sing it in that spirit. And even though it is a very simple song, it only has one phrase of words and one chord for that matter, it yet delivers a message that is incredibly powerful and really even a message that's very central to the spiritual path. Lift Your Heart in Strength. It's an antidote for guilt, discouragement, defeatism, loneliness, and stubbornness. So let's enjoy that song first. This is from A Tale of Songs. It's the Joy Singers singing the song in a round as it's meant to be heard.
Lift your heart in strength once more.
Soon your boat will come ashore.
Lift your heart in strength once more. Soon your boat will come ashore. Lift your heart in strength once more. Soon your boat will come ashore. Lift your heart in strength once more. Soon your boat will come ashore. Come heart in strength once more. Soon your boat will come ashore. Lift your heart in strength once more. Soon your boat will come ashore. Lift your heart in strength once more.
Heart in strength once more.
Soon your boat will come ashore.
Swami Ananda, in several books, and he's told this story in many lectures, and you may have heard it, he tells a story about a European friend of his who was a mountain climber in his youth and was very skilled at it, and in fact made a number of first ascents in the Alps, which means taking routes that no one else had ever done before. And he tells the story of how this man once decided to climb a mountain through one of these first ascent routes. And the mountain was easy to ascend by other means, but this particular route was exceptionally difficult, even seemingly impossible. But he studied it. He tried to see that he could do it. So he climbed almost to the top, and he reached a ledge where the mountain then curved out. He's coming up, and there's a ledge, and the mountain curved out so that it was really hanging over out down over the valley. And it seemed just impossible to climb upwards. And at the same time, the ascent he had made to that ledge was so difficult that going back down was equally impossible for him. But this man decided, he said, well, I can sit here and just starve to death, or I can at least try. And he decided I would rather die trying than just die of starvation and giving up. So he started to climb, and of course he went out that space and fell down, and got up again, and he tried again and fell down, and got up and fell down, and he kept doing this. And he said that around the 20 or 25th try or so, he felt like there was a force, like a big hand, holding him up against the mountain that then allowed him to climb over that outcropping and get to the top of the mountain, from which he could then walk down through one of the easy routes. Now this song, Lift Your Heart in Strength, really expresses the truth of that story. Lift your heart in strength once more, soon your boat will come ashore. Now the boat here clearly refers to anything you set out to accomplish, anything you want to succeed at, be it mountain climbing or succeeding in a job or learning a new skill, or for that matter, spiritual liberation. The only way you succeed at anything is through effort. As Lahiri Mahashai would say, banata banata banjai, seeking, striving, suddenly, victory. And he also described things like the spiritual path, especially as trying to pull a nail out of a board with like a crowbar or a hammer. You don't know how much nail is still in the board, but you still have to keep pulling in order to get that nail out. And even if you quit and if you never succeed in pulling the nail and you just say, well, I don't know how much nail is there and I'm going to give up, well, you'll never, of course, finish that. You have to keep pulling no matter the apparent lack of progress that you might be perceiving at that time. Yogananda also said, a saint is a sinner who never gave up. And he said that the spiritual path is 25% your effort, 25% the effort of the Guru on your behalf, and 50% God's grace. But, he said, that 25% of your effort is 100% of what you have to contribute to the scene. So you can't succeed just with half-hearted effort or giving up partway through the process. You have to put your full effort into whatever it is you do. Now, why is that self-effort important? As in the story of the mountain climber, it's because the effort we put out magnetizes the support of everything around us. It draws the help and support of the universe from sometimes unseen and unknown realms, like, again, with that mountain climber, getting the support of astral beings or angels in his attempt. Swami Kriyananda assigns this song, Lift Your Heart in Strength, to day 20 of Secrets of Emotional Healing, which is specifically as an antidote for guilt. And he says, the secret of overcoming feelings of guilt is to relinquish the past, for whatever has been done can be undone, or can't be undone, I should say. Resolve instead to do better from today onward, and even better, until that better becomes the very best that is in you. View your mistakes as prods merely to ultimate victory. Yukteswar said also, forget the past. The vanished lives of all men are dark with many shames, but everything in future will improve if you are making a spiritual effort now. And really that spiritual effort, you might say, is directing energy upwards in the spine, lifting the heart, lifting that courage in the heart to strive toward a worthy goal regardless of visible progress or the lack thereof. And that's really, it's a completely central teaching to the spiritual path. Now, this song, as we heard, is written to be sung in a round, where the person starting the round, you can say, really represents you as an individual and your effort, putting out that effort on your own. Then the world around you in the other parts of the round begins to respond. First, a little with the second part, then with some added parts, and they begin to overlap. And, as we heard in the recording, you can have like 4 overlapping parts. You could even have almost an overlapping part for every different beat of the song, because it has one chord and the notes all blend together very nicely, and you can have this almost seemingly cacophony of overlapping parts, and yet it's all that universe coming and supporting you and surrounding you. Now, and you really can't discern after a while where that first individual effort might be, but it's part of the mix, and it's important that that effort has to still be there in order to be the thread that binds the whole tapestry together. Now, that individual effort, again, it's the courage of the heart. Lift your heart in strength. It's not lifting your mind or some other aspect of your being. It's lifting the heart, lifting the courage of the heart. That's why the song also works as an antidote for discouragement. That courage is what you need to try just once more, no matter how many times you failed in the past. Again, forget the past, including anything you might be carrying forward from past lives. Forget the guilt that comes from past failure, including any failure to put out your full energy in the past. So often we let that kind of guilt weigh on us heavily and interfere with our present ability to try at all. We become afraid, thinking that, well, I'm just going to fail again, so why bother? That's where guilt takes us. And we let ourselves to think, using the imagery of this song, that, well, I rowed my boat for a while and I didn't get anywhere, so what's the use? But really, if you think about it, almost anywhere on this planet Earth, if you're on a lake or the ocean, anywhere you might row a boat, you could use it figuratively there. If you row in one direction, you're going to hit land eventually. Now, I will say there's a caveat. There's a few lines of latitude in the southern hemisphere, like 57 degrees south or something like that, that if you went exactly east and west, you could actually continue going in that direction forever and never hit land. But the chances of you keeping exactly to that are so very slim that you would eventually run into South America or Antarctica or something like that. So, if you keep rowing, you will reach a shoreline. But it's that giving up and surrendering that says that's what creates the guilt, the knowing that you could have tried, that you could have controlled your destiny instead of giving away that power. And indeed, that trying once more is the single act that differentiates certain failure from eventual success. I remember playing billiards with a friend years ago who I kept beating him in this game, and he said, "Oh, just once more, just one more game, just one more game." And I admired that tenacity. And similarly, when I was a teenager, I would play ping pong with my brother, and he would beat me consistently. And I remember I kept wanting to play, and I think I lost 57 games in a row before I finally won. But it was that try just once more and try just once more. And you may remember that story from the 1980 U.S. hockey team that's portrayed in the movie Miracle that Disney put out. That really, the victory of that hockey team in the 1980 Olympics really, magnetized the country of the United States out of a period of stagnation and depression. But the team had to go through that first, and there's a beautifully depicted scene in the movie where after a game in Norway, where the coach Herb Brooks could clearly see that his players were highly distracted, kept them after the game and put them through this brutal, strenuous exercise again and again and again, to the point where they were getting sick and, just barely could stand anymore. He kept saying again and again, looking for something. And finally, there was, a moment where something gelled and something really pulled the team together that then shook them out of that complacency and that stagnation. And again, that's what helped them eventually win the Olympic gold medal, which I think magnetized a lot of energy within the United States as a whole and gave the country a whole new confidence. Now, the recording that we're going to hear in a few moments is the one from the Mystic Harp, and it's just an instrumental. But it really tells a deeper story of this courage if you listen to it sensitively. So the rounds themselves of the melody are carried by like horn-type instruments. And what the harp is doing is simply plucking chords the whole time. And again, it's just one chord in the song, so what Derek Bell is doing is plucking a chord and then moving up another chord inversion, as it's called, moving the chord higher and higher. So the chords are going up from kind of a low register to a higher register. And the plucking of the chords is like the rowing of the boat. It's just that each stroke of the oar, you hear that plucking going on. And again, that's the individual's courage of the heart, really trying to put out that effort. And then these other instruments come in, and they're really resonating with the upper chakras to pull that effort of the heart upwards, to support it magnetically, pulling it upwards again. This is, again, like nature, like the angels and astral beings coming to respond to our efforts with that support, and I might even say companionship, which is why I think this song can work for loneliness, because loneliness is feeling cut off from everyone and everything, but yet in this song, when you put the effort out and you feel that resonance of the world around you, then you don't feel lonely anymore. And all those instruments are like the forces of nature, the earth, the elements, the angels, the plants, the animals, weaving an upward spiral with around your particular effort. And it's really interesting, I might say, if you have a chance to hear this piece with headphones on, you'll hear something very interesting, which is that the harp chords, which are again going higher and higher through a chord progression of intervals or inversions, also moves between, I think it starts in the left ear and then moves to the right ear, moves back to the left, moves back to the right, and then finally comes to the center. It's actually creating audibly, if you hear it in headphones, you can hear this kind of spiraling sound coming up. And what it really is doing on a deep and subtle level, it's like doing a practice of Kriya Yoga, which in that technique is spiraling energy around the chakras in the spine to focus it at the spiritual eye. And so in this song, you get that effort of the harp is doing exactly the same thing, and you get this swirling pattern of all these different instruments there to support your effort. And then also listen for this little secondary trumpet call, which is almost, it's not really a melody so much as an extra, it's almost like a little victory call going there. And the other thing I wanted to mention, two more things before we listen to that song, is that two more qualities that this song can work for is defeatism and also stubbornness. And the defeatism, again, it's like discouragement, but it's that giving up to say, I can't do anything more. That refusing to quit, no matter what happens, overcomes defeatism, definitely. Now, for stubbornness, I think of this upward spiraling energy, and what would be the opposite of that? It's kind of a static, flat energy that doesn't want to move and doesn't want to go anywhere. And that's why I say stubbornness is also a quality that this song can overcome. Stubbornness is being, like Yogananda said, a psychological antique in which, you've negated everything around you. You've negated any kind of reason to do effort that would get you moving. And lift your heart and strength tells us that battle in the heart says that when you're too much in your head, you can't get the heart engaged. If you're too much in the lower chakras, nor can you don't have any energy flowing up to support and lift the heart in that way. And so really, you could think of this song as a song of devotion. It doesn't sound necessarily that devotional in the way of, loving God and, doing flower ceremonies and that kind of thing. But what is devotion? Devotion is a love and a dedication of that upward direction of the heart. And with devotion, you will always try once more. You will always try once more until you succeed. You will always make that spiritual effort, as Sri Yukteswar said, to try once more to succeed. So lift your heart in strength once more. Soon your boat will come ashore. It's really a wonderful message for the start of the new year, where there's so much potential to realize if you but give yourself fully with that awareness to the divine support around you.